What's going on, y'all? It's another Friday night. Y'all
Friday
see
night.
what's going on. The tag team champs back in the house.
Tag team champs.
We defending the world tag team champions of interactive live sports talk. It's the Play Caller Sports Talk Show. Of course, as always, one half of the dynamic duo, I'm your boy, Stephen Box. Joined as always by my co-host, the one and the only.
Cool, McCain.
And together we are
The Play Caller.
Yes, sir. So, quick shout out, man, before we kick off this thing. Got Mr. McCain's monologue. It's here before even we were. So,
Yes,
got to give a
sir.
shout out to that. So, truly first. Even beat the host for the show tonight. So,
Hey, it bees
Man
like
props.
that sometimes. Big ups.
so man, we got a lot to talk about tonight. I know you didn't really get a chance to give your thoughts on the playoff series from last week. So we'll spend a few minutes tonight just kind of recapping the last set of series, so you can also give your thoughts there. And obviously, we've moved on to the next round, so we'll talk about the current series. Always got a little football talk to go to, especially this week thanks to one Nick Saban. So definitely appreciate Nick giving us something to talk about this week. And I'm actually going to pull up to make sure that I get all of them. They did just release a report a little while ago that the Lakers have narrowed down their head coach search to 3 potential finalists. So I'm really curious to get your thoughts on those 3 candidates. So let's kick it off, man. Why don't you give us your thoughts on some of these series from the last round?
Well, the last round had one of the series is a little disappointing for me, the Celtics and the Bucks series, but that's okay though. I thought they had enough to win that in 6. Didn't want that to go to 7 without Chris Middleton, so I thought the Bucks would win in 6. When I saw how they laid down in Game 6, I was very concerned about Game 7, and unfortunately, I was correct. I was incorrect for the whole series. It happens. But the good thing about Milwaukee is you were missing your second best player, and you still took the game all the way to 7. You won a couple of games on the road. You won some tight games. I feel confident saying if Middleton's there, they're advancing, but he wasn't. No slight to the Celtics. You went out, you did what you needed to do. Same as you did last night. So the Sixers have definitely been on fire. They've been playing well. So, nothing there. No surprise there. What I do want to jump to real quick is I've heard a lot of people, normally a little bit younger generation, running around talking about point guard. Chris Paul is the point guard. He is your false idol. He is not a point guard. He is not a point demigod. He is a false idol. He is the Beelzebub of point guards. Okay. He is not one. Chris Paul has shown you time and time again over his 17-year career. I'm great in the regular season. I make you look good in the first round of the playoffs. But when it starts to matter, I am the king, the god of the choke. That's what he's the god of. He's a choke god. Again, a lesser talented team. One of the best players in the league playing with you. And you still can't get the job done. So if you ever, and I mean ever, say point guard Chris Paul around me, I'm not going to even respond to you. Because it comes a point where you just don't even have conversations with fools. And if you believe a guy that always chokes, finally made it to the finals, was up 2-0 and then choked away for the 5th time in his career, a 2-0 lead. But he's your point guard? Nah. He's your false idol, choke god. That's what he is. Chris Paul, I don't even dislike you that much, but you just can't get it done. And I'm sick of people acting like stats over 17 years makes you a great player. If you play 17 years and you're not highly ranked in the categories, you suck. And that's just the facts of it. You've had a great regular season career. You've had a great early playoff career. But when it gets deep in the playoffs, you become the choke god or the false idol. And that's just what it is. Phoenix, you hitched your wagon to the choke god, and he choked you, just like he did last year. Congratulations. Dallas Mavericks, I know you've gotten farther than you expected to get. You're playing with house money now, but now you're up against Golden State. Snowman, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, man, that's just my quick opinion on that particular series. Grizzlies and Warriors, let's be real. We knew who was going to win that series, just like we knew who was going to win Denver Golden State series when it first started. Golden State has a plethora of offensive weapons that they can use. As long as one of those guys get off, you're in trouble, and the other two have fairly decent games. So they've been doing that all playoffs. Poole is another guy that they now have. Draymond Green still beating people, kicking people in the privates, scratching eyes out, playing dirty. So, you got that aspect there as well. So you got everything you need in Golden State to have beat Memphis, and you did what you were supposed to do. Then Heat 76ers, do we even really need to discuss that? Do we really? And B made a nice little comeback that allowed the team to be good for a small period of time, get a little boost from him playing. But then Miami said, man, we forgot who he was real quick. Let's go ahead and take these boys out. And that's what they did.
Yeah.
Better team won. James Harden did what he always does, the other choke god. So congratulations to the two choke gods for doing exactly what I thought you would.
Yeah, we actually did talk a lot about that last week while you were out. And, the one thing that we brought up last week, and I'm curious if you agree with this, is I'm glad that they didn't completely jump off the boat here, and that they're smart enough to bring Doc Rivers back.
Yeah. Here's the thing, man. There are teams looking for head coaches. You fire Doc Rivers, he's going to be just like when he left the Clippers and came to you. Doc Rivers is not going to be without a job because he's a great basketball mind. You gave him Ben Simmons. You gave him James Harden. He didn't go ask you for those guys. You gave him those guys. Those are the reasons that the last 2 years his teams have failed. I knew they would fail this year. It has nothing to do with Doc. It has everything to do with James, your choke god, Harden.
Yeah. Man, my thing with it is I feel like James Harden did what everybody expected him to, right? And it was funny. Now you see all these people like, are they going to bring him back? Should they go ahead and pay him? Why would you? You saw that it's not going to work. You have an opportunity right now to go out and fix this mistake that you made. If you're the 76ers, you'd be wise to take advantage of it. So
when I think about him, I'm like, this is something that's already happened, right? We already know what it is. We already know all these things. What's interesting for me is that, yeah, he's a free agent in 2023. So if I'm looking at this, I believe there is another year that's on the contract. If I'm correct, double checking that now. Yeah, he has a $47.3 million option for next year that he's going to opt into. If I'm James Harden, I'm going to opt into a $47.3 million option, obviously, because no one's going to pay you that the way you play in the playoffs.
Right.
So I think they're going to have him for one more year, but
yeah, but don't go and re-sign this dude. Don't go give him an extension. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would take him for that last year, and whatever he does, that's what it is. I would not sign him to anything past that player option.
Right. Yeah. I agree with you. Just kind of recapping, I did pick Boston to win the series. Big part of that was the fact that Middleton was out. I was actually surprised that Memphis played as well as they did. But I think that a big part of that was Golden State has this little switch mentality right now where they think they can just flip it on and off. And it might get them past Dallas, but I know we're about to talk about that series. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there. I'm picking Golden State to win that series, but if they mess around and let Dallas get a couple wins here and there, they can mess around and lose the series. Dallas has the talent, if you let them hang around, that they could actually win this series. They shouldn't. Golden State should easily win this series, but it may not happen that way.
Yeah, the dangerous thing about Dallas is they've somehow found a way to be very successful with altering their style slightly. Luka's still doing what he does, but he's not being as ball dominant as he previously was.
Yeah.
I think maybe watching them play without him the first couple of games against Utah, maybe he kind of had that switch finally flick on I've been talking about. But we'll see if it lasts. But as of right now, I feel like Dallas is going to hang in this series. I feel like they're going to be able to make this series at least 6 games. Luka can go off and they can still lose. Luka cannot have his best game and they can still win.
Yeah.
They have a lot of other guys that are stepping up and making shots in the playoffs, like Bertrands, and I'm not going to name everybody because we got an hour show here. Yeah. But there's about 5, 6, 7 guys on that team besides Luka that can put up buckets. And they hit threes at a really consistent clip when they have those time frames where they're hitting threes. They're the perfect team to beat a team like Golden State that doesn't have a big either. So this is a series where you really don't have bigs, right?
Yeah. Right.
You got a couple of guys that play in the post, but they're not true traditional bigs dominating games. So you could really go small ball both teams, and that's going to actually probably benefit Dallas more just because they put Bertrands in at the 5 and let him rain threes. So I think it'll be a good series, but ultimately Golden State should win the series. I don't want them to win it because, I've changed my stance on Golden State, the cowards they were in the last round, but they're going to win the series.
Yeah. Now flip it over to Miami and Boston. So I feel like with this series, I like Miami. I think Boston can hang in this series because, as I said, part of my reason for choosing them over Milwaukee, defense travels well, right? And Boston plays great team defense, and they got a couple of guys that can put up scores, so they can compete with pretty much anybody. The difference between Milwaukee, especially without Middleton, where Giannis was basically having to literally carry the team, it was worn down by the end of every game. Miami is going to be a more complete team. And Miami is going to not only match you physically, you might actually have to go out and match Miami physically. So they're going to beat you down for the entire series. And this is going to be a fun series because I think at the end of it, I think this, first of all, is going to go 7. But I think that this is a series that is going to really come down to who wants it more. Who's going to be the last team standing? Who's going to be able to get punched in the mouth last and bounce back? And I'm going to put my money on Miami.
Makes sense. Definitely makes sense. For me, I would say I'm going to actually go with Boston. I believe Boston is the team to beat here. I said before the Boston series with Milwaukee that the winner of that series was going to win the Eastern Championship. So I'm going to stick to that. It wasn't the team I expected it to be, but I'm going to stick to that. And a couple of reasons why. One of my main reasons is, well, I do agree with what you're saying. If you look at consistent scorers, Boston has 2 guys that a guy like Giannis can kind of, game to game, maybe not completely cover, but get close to what they can do in most games or in 4 or 5 games and win. I don't really see, besides Jimmy Butler, another consistent scorer on Miami, right? So you're going to have guys that are not used to putting up 25, 30 a game be able to do that, because you're going to have nights where Jason Tatum is going to get off like he did last night, where Brown's going to get off too, Jaylen Brown, where you're going to have a third guy just rotate through and get 15, 20 points. And you have to be ready for that.
Yeah.
When I look at Miami, I don't think offensively they can put out enough firepower because you have guys on the bench that can shoot right, but you're not going to play them big minutes because defensively, some of them are liabilities.
Yeah.
As we saw, Boston did exactly what they needed to do to win. They went in and got a win. They went and got a dub on the road. That's all they wanted to do. So they've done what they wanted to do.
Yep.
They satisfied what they need for them to be successful. Now they just need to go home and do what they got to do.
Yo.
Just curious to see if that can happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you when you talk about the differential in scoring. Miami has got to be more of a team approach, which is actually, to me, I think an advantage, right? Because with Milwaukee, they knew who was going to do the scoring, right? So it was easier for them to really focus in on Giannis and wear him down. Now, obviously, they can focus in on Jimmy Butler, but you are also going to find yourself in a situation where Miami might not have other guys who are going to go out and put up 30, 40 points, but they can have 5 or 6 guys who go out and give you 15, 20. So they're going to need that on a nightly basis, on a game-to-game basis here, Miami is, where they're going to have to go out and get production from multiple guys. Because when you're playing a team who plays great team defense like Boston, you need multiple guys who can score. That's how you actually break a defense like Boston's. If you just got 1 or 2 guys who are out there being ball dominant and trying to do all the scoring, a team like Boston is going to eat you up. They're going to wear you down. If you can get production from multiple guys, that's how you can actually beat Boston's defense. But again, I think this is going to go 7. I'm picking Miami. I won't be surprised if Boston wins. But much like you feel about Golden State, as a Lakers fan, I hate Boston, so maybe I'm just picking against them just because I just want Boston to get anywhere near the finals, because I do not believe that either one of these West Coast teams can beat either one of the East Coast teams.
I would definitely agree with that. Like I said, man, the thing with Boston is there are guys that you have to stop, but then you have to stop tertiary players as well. Al Horford makes a huge difference for that team. We saw the difference between them in game 1 and game 2, as well as other guys, right? So I think Boston has enough guys that you've got 2 really 1A options, 1B, 1A, 1B options offensively. You can throw Tatum on Butler. If you don't want to wear Tatum out too much, you can throw Brown on Butler. You can rotate those guys on Butler. Butler can only play one of those guys. So if you say we want Jimmy Butler to stop Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown's going to get a less talented defender guarding him, vice versa. There are going to be some games where neither one of those guys get off. The reason why I am picking Boston, the reason why I felt like whoever won the Milwaukee-Boston series was going to win the East and really the championship is just simply because it was going to be a battle of 2 teams that have good defenses, but also can put together a lot of points offensively when needed. That's the one area where Miami's going to struggle. They're going to have other guys step up. They're going to step up. They're going to have guys get buckets. But someone else has to hit 20 plus. Maybe 2 people have to hit 20 plus a game. I don't see that happening 4 times for Miami in this series where 2 other guys score over 20 points. If you don't have that kind of production against this Boston team, it's going to be difficult to get 4 wins. I see Boston being able to get 4 wins before Miami, so I have them winning.
Okay. I mean, you make good points, man. I won't be surprised if it plays out that way.
You just don't want Boston to win. That's all.
It may be it, man. Just little Silky
What
Johnson.
a shot!
Hate.
My co-host is at the haters ball on the Boston Celtics as a Lakers fan. What a shot!
But to be fair, it's not as if I'm making some crazy prediction that can't happen. It's not as if Miami doesn't have the talent to win the series. So it's not like I'm picking them to lose to some bunch of scrubs.
You're not picking to lose against some jabronis named Juventud?
Yes, no jabronis named Juventud. Or nobody that goes, Only the real wrestling fans will catch that one.
But you know what?
So do you have this going 7?
I think we're going to see 6. I think we're going to drop it in 6. It's going to be a rapid 6.
Okay, so you got Boston winning 6.
Mm-hmm.
I got Miami going in 7. Okay. We shall see. Only
I don't
one of us
think
can be
they're
right.
matched enough to go 7.
Okay. Well, we'll see, man. I know a lot of people probably are overreacting a little bit off of yesterday
And
because that's what people do.
Miami had a soft schedule to get there. Let's be real. Look at the teams Miami played to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Look at the teams Boston played. Those were 2 completely different paths.
Yeah. You could argue though that might end up, the longer the series goes, be a benefit to Miami. 2 teams that both play very physical. One
Man,
has been a little bit more rested, had a little bit softer path. The other team's been a little bit more, having to go through some of those battles. That can catch up to you over the course of a series. So
them
just
boys
throwing it
got
out there.
them
Throwing
boys
it
got
out there.
young legs, man. You ain't talking about the Lakers and these old teams. These boys got young legs.
Well, if we were talking about the Lakers, we wouldn't be talking about the playoffs right now, now would we?
Well, I'm just saying, if it was the Lakers, then it would be a valid argument because they're long in the tooth, so to speak. These boys young. They out there running. They don't care about it. They probably playing basketball on their days off anyway.
Hey,
They ain't hit that wall yet where it hurt every time you go out there. You got to do the 15 minutes of stretching and then the ice bath afterward. You know what I'm saying? Put on your icy hot pad and all that. They ain't reached that level yet, so they can just go out there and run.
Even your boy Giannis was out there last series, hands on them hips at the end of every game, dude.
Man, Giannis got asthma, man. He looks like he got asthma to me, man.
You see, he
You know
got
what I'm saying?
asthma.
Giannis got asthma, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Why they can't get asthma? This man in the inhaler, then, man. Come on,
I think that's after he takes the inhaler.
that's a shame. So, real quick, man, you brought up the Lakers. So since you are the basketball
Secret segue.
aficionado, yeah,
Secret
since
segue.
you are the basketball aficionado, I want to get your opinion on the potential hires that my Lakers are looking at. So the rumor is Kenny Atkinson, Terry Stotts, and Darvin Ham are the 3 finalists for this position. So the first question is, do you have one that you think makes the most sense out of those 3?
Yes, I do. You want Darvin Ham. That's who you want.
Okay. Now I have to ask, is that the Milwaukee Bucks homerism coming through, just like my Laker hate for the Celtics was coming through?
No, because I'm actually
a
Nuggets.
reason?
Yeah, I'm actually a Nuggets fan, so I don't really care about Milwaukee outside of covering them for the other show I do. And I do like Giannis. Darvin Ham is a guy that all the players love.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy that when people are having a bad game, besides some of the players that are like coaches on the sideline, but he's like the coach. That's not the head coach that people look at as like the leader for the players. Right? He's a player's coach. He's a former player himself, so he understands the X's and O's from both sides. Wasn't a great player. Decent player, wasn't a great player. Those are the guys that normally make the best coaches. You look at guys like Mark Jackson, Steve Kerr, Phil Jackson, so on and so forth. The best coaches that were former players are guys that were never the star. Guys that were the star like Kevin McHale, Larry Bird, try some other guys. It doesn't normally go as well. But he's the guy that's going to bring a system that will use the players that you have. So a lot of coaches have a established system and they want to play that system. But what he's did for Milwaukee while learning there and developing is he's helped them. Like, I believe he's one of the reasons why they won a championship last year, because he had to be one of the guys in their head coach's ear, because Budenholzer looks like he has no clue all the time. That I think is in his ear, like, coach, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this, let's try that. We saw some differentiation in some of the things they did on sets, offense, defense, in the finals last year and even in these playoffs, especially after Chris Middleton went down. So I think he's a guy that has a bright basketball mind. The players love him. They know he's not going to be there much longer. And I think if you're looking at a guy who's young, this would be his first head coaching job. So he's going to be more willing to accept feedback. He's going to be more willing to let the star players kind of, help dictate some things, because it's not going to have that strong will of like, no, we're going to do it my way. He's going to be more of a, let's figure out how it works together so that you can get the most out of you, but at the same time, what's best for the team. And locker trash. He talking trash about them in the organization. You have to switch into a 360 and get the right guy in. And I think of those candidates, for me, it would be Darvin.
So let's say you had two you have keep in mind he's a coach. I'm a better. This is actually a perfect situation if you're a coach. And then there's been a lot of talk in the media about trading LeBron James. Most people say trade LeBron James. That's crazy. But is it? Is it really crazy to trade a guy who is going to be getting older and older every year? He's wanting to hang around until the sun gets there. He's keeping up a lot of cap space, and he's also forcing other guys to not be able to play the roles that they really want to play. Let's be real. You're a Lakers fan. You're not a LeBron fan. If you take LeBron off that team and allow Russell Westbrook to run that team runs more efficiently. That team runs better. Russell Westbrook is going to turn the ball over. He's going to miss shots. He's going to make bad decisions. But the more he has the ball in his hand, the less bad decisions he makes. Not saying he's ever going to eliminate him if he plays every minute of the game. But the more he's in the flow, the better he plays. You saw the team without LeBron when he was hurt in a couple of games with AD. But, street clothes is going to be street clothes. But a couple of times where he played and LeBron didn't, you saw the ball move. You saw them actually play well. They may not have won all those games, but you saw a glimpse of what could be. When you got a guy like LeBron, that all the young guys are basically saying, here's the ball, LeBron. And then LeBron's saying, okay, now you can shoot. Here's the ball back. You're slowing down the pace of the game. You're missing shots. You're missing opportunities. LeBron has to, if he's going to stay, which he probably will stay, but he is the most tradable piece. But if he's going to stay, he's going to have to really do what he's been saying for the last 4 years and play off the ball. All right, so it does look like we had some technical audio issues. Looks like it was maybe on YouTube's end because everybody says it's cleared up now. So apologies if people missed some of what was going on there. Yep. But the kind of short version of that was him probably the best candidate for the Lakers. It is a situation in which even a young coach might want to go in, even though it's a hot mess right now, because you have some flexibility right now in terms of what can happen. So you're not necessarily stuck with the situation as it is. That would be one of the questions I would be asking as a coaching candidate if they offer me the job is, hey, are you dead set on going forward with these three guys and putting guys around them? Because if that's the case, I don't know if I want the job. But if there's some flexibility to actually make some moves and try to put together a roster that can actually compete, then yeah. And the good thing I do like about Ham is he's now been with a couple organizations where there are expectations. He had a chance to see this year what's it like coming back and defending your title in Milwaukee. And so he has that experience of being in pressure situations, because there's not very many situations that are more high pressure than LA, especially coming off a bad season like what they just came off of. If you don't make the playoffs next year, you might be one and done.
Well, I think you come into this situation, for me, if I was saying, all right, this year coming up, you got a hot mess. I'll come in and do my best, but you cannot judge me on if I keep my job off of this hot mess that you are presenting me with year one.
Yeah.
You've got to get me time. Yeah, you got to give me time to actually get a draft pick in here and actually start developing people. And if I remember correctly, I don't have a first rounder for the next couple of years, right?
I don't even know when we have our next first round. I'm a Lakers fan, bro. We don't even look at that. Come on.
Yeah, but I'm saying because where the Lakers made a huge mistake, and this was LeBron James' fault. If you're a Lakers fan, you should be mad at him for this. You had a great stable of young talent that you had drafted and brought in as a restricted free agents as well. You had a great young team. You had to blow it up. You had to give away some pieces to get LeBron. You had to give away the rest to get who he wanted to play with, Street Clothes Davis. So you have those two guys, and your future's gone. And all those guys are in other places now, balling out. So the problem is, if you're the Lakers, you got to figure out a way to keep Malik Monk because he's a young guy that can score. He may never be a number one option, but he can be a solid number two, as he showed last year when he was given the opportunity. You're going to have Russ for at least another year unless you make a trade. Honestly, if he's not in long-term plans, if you can make a trade, why not? But, I mean, if you're another team and you really want Russ, I mean, he's going to be a free agent next year. I'm not going to give up a lot to get him unless I have my own guy I want to get rid of. Perfect place, Charlotte Hornets. Yeah. They're really done with Terry Rozier and I forget his name. The power forward is always hurt. But, yeah. Gordon Hayward. That's it, Gordon Hayward. Oh, yeah, Hayward, yeah. So those two guys, that would be probably a solid trade for both teams. But it all depends on what the teams want to do. Yeah. But when you're looking at the Lakers, if I'm coming in as a coach, you're not judging me off year one. If you're going to judge me off year one, you can have that job. In the words of my boy Rock, you can sign it up real nice. You can turn it sideways, and you know where you can stick it.
Yeah, man. I mean, as a Lakers fan, obviously this was a frustrating season to watch. And we've talked about it numerous times on here. Everybody wants to blame Westbrook. And what I saw out of Westbrook was a guy, really the only guy out of the three superstars who really made an effort to adapt his game and try to make it work. What I saw was between Anthony Davis injuries and LeBron not wanting to be less ball dominant, that's what hurt the team. And I know LeBron's still playing at a high level, man. Kudos to you for playing at such a high level at your age. But you got to realize you're at a point in your career, man, where you don't need to go out there and be the guy. You don't need to go out there and have the ball in your hands every single play. You need to be out there making other plays. And again, I think a big part of the problem last year was you put together this team that never had any chance of playing defense. And you still have Frank Vogel, who is a defense-first coach. And he never figured out how to coach them on the other side. So it will be interesting, like you said, with Ham, you get a young guy like that, comes in, a little bit innovative, has some new ideas, isn't really stuck to a certain system. It'll be interesting to see if they do keep all three of those guys, can he figure out a way to make it work? Because LeBron's not going to stop being ball dominant, and AD's not playing a five. So if that's your plan.
Yeah, those two things are not happening. That's for sure.
You might as well just go and get that on up right now. So any final thoughts that you want to share on NBA right now before we move on to other topics?
Just like to say, man, it's been a really exciting season. I'm happy for how things have went for the NBA this year. They had an opportunity to turn themselves into something more than what they were. For a long time, we've talked about how the NFL has dominated things, and they've been like the main league that everybody's watched.
Yeah.
I'd say with this past season, we've seen the NBA kind of come back. Best thing for the NBA was not having LeBron James in the playoffs this is because it allowed other people to be the topics. We're talking about other guys. We're not sitting here every round talking about LeBron James. As long as you got LeBron James, you have a chance to win no matter what. We're more so, focusing on teams, focusing on other stars, what's going to happen at the point that we all know is going to happen at some point. LeBron's not going to be in the NBA.
Yeah.
So we're preparing ourselves kind of for that point. So excited to see that that's happening. Also wanted to quickly just shout out the teams. We had the NBA draft lottery special, I guess you call it, that happened. So I'll just quickly go through the teams, the top 14, and who's picking. We won't get into the players yet, but just to kind of give you ideas for anybody who missed it, who's going to be drafting. So Cleveland's drafting at 14th. The Hornets are drafting at 13th. The Oklahoma City Thunder have one of their probably 50 first round picks at 12. New York Knicks are drafting at 11. The Washington Wizards are drafting at 10th. San Antonio Spurs are drafting 9th. New Orleans Pelicans are drafting 8th. The Portland Trail Blazers have the 7th pick. The Indiana Pacers have the 6th pick. Detroit Pistons have the 5th pick. The Sacramento Kings have the 4th pick. The Houston Rockets have the 3rd pick. And the top 2 picks, Oklahoma City has the number 2 pick. And Orlando Magic has the number 1 overall pick. So there'll be a lot of mock drafts, more talk about, who's going where. We just wanted to at least put that out there for those of you who may not have seen that and may be interested in who's picking where and just didn't have an opportunity to see it. So just wanted to go ahead and throw that out there. And Oklahoma City only has 2 in the top 12 this year, but trust me, they're going to be multiple picks in the first round for probably the next 5 years. The news is crazy.
Yeah. I will just throw out there I do happen to know this because I just happened to see the headline on it. So if you're thinking to yourself, how is New Orleans picking at 8 when they made the playoffs? That is the pick that they got from the Lakers as part of the Anthony Davis trade, which I think is kind of crazy because I don't think the Lakers would have ever expected that they were losing out on the number 8 pick when they got Anthony Davis.
One of the big things I say about all sports is you have to judge a player based on their history. Anthony Davis was never a guy that stayed healthy in New Orleans. So expecting him to come to LA and be healthy all of a sudden is unrealistic. I've talked to sports fans who say, oh man, if we had Anthony Davis in Miami, if we had Anthony Davis here, man, we put him on a regimen, we get him bulked up, we get him this, we get him that. I just want you guys to understand, the Lakers are a top tier NBA organization. Mm-hmm. Do you not think that they haven't tried these things with this guy? Do you think they just let him come in, shoot the ball 10, 15 times and go home? You don't think that they have nutritionists, trainers, strength and conditioning coaches, some of the best probably in the country in LA? Come on, man.
I'm going to tell you where Anthony Davis's problem is. As someone who my professional day job is working with strength and conditioning and nutrition and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly what Anthony Davis's problem is. He plays scared. He goes out there and he plays not to get hurt. And when you go play to not get hurt, then you overthink things and your body doesn't move naturally. You move awkwardly. And that's what happens. Not to mention the fact this dude spends way too much time on the ground. Way too much time on the ground. Stop falling down, dude. But you know what? Even though we lost the number 8 pick, I'll just rest my head on our championship we won.
Denver's going to get there one day.
It's all there. It's all I care about.
Yeah. It was maybe next year.
It was all worth it.
And the funny thing about it is that year, LeBron and AD were healthy because of what? COVID had that long break.
It's dude. I just had this conversation with somebody the other day where they were talking about the bubble really helped the Lakers because it was the bubble, and I said, dude, it had nothing to do with the bubble.
It was a chance to get healthy.
It was a 3-month break that those two guys had off.
Absolutely.
You gave AD and LeBron 3 whole months off to rest up.
That's like an off season.
Of course, we won a championship. Give us a 3-month break before the playoffs. Every year we win the championship.
Yep. The geriatric team would be right.
Yeah. But, unfortunately, you don't get a 3-month break every year. So that's why we haven't won a championship since.
No, you don't.
So it is what it is. But hey, we're gonna take our warning. We're gonna love it.
Boston about to get one this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna need Miami to step the game up. Come on, Heat. Help your boy out, man. Come on.
Just hate.
305. Come on.
Just hate. That dude do not like the Heat. That's hate. That dude has no love for the Heat.
Oh, I don't care nothing about the Heat.
Dude, running around talking about 305. He'll run up in next week with a white hot jersey on. And I was just like, shut your camera off. Just shut your camera off. We don't want to see that mess.
I just dislike Baltimore. That's all. Not gonna front on it. Not gonna lie whatsoever.
No one would have thought that, sir. So thank you for telling us what we had no idea what happened.
That's why I made sure to wear my Lakers hat tonight, so the people just understood it. I don't care about Miami. I'm just hating. I wanted it to be clear. So mission accomplished. So man, speaking of hate, I want to talk about this Nick Saban story. So I don't know where he was or what the circumstance around why the comments are getting made or what he got asked or anything else. Okay, so I'm not going to speculate on any of that. I'm going to just stick with the facts of what he actually said. Oh, shout out to BS3. So yeah.
What up?
Here's the thing. So for those of you who might have somehow missed this story over the last couple of days, Nick Saban was commenting on NIL. And he came out and said that the reason that Texas A&M had the #1 recruiting class in the country this past recruiting cycle was because they, quote, bought every player on the team. I think there's a bit of an exaggeration to say they literally bought everybody, but that's what he said. Then he called out Deion in Jackson State and said, oh, they went in, they paid a guy $1 million to come play football there. And he's a really good D1 athlete, but they paid him to come to school there. And then I didn't hear the exact comments, but apparently he made some comments about Miami basketball also in regards to NIL. But let's be honest, nobody really cares about Miami basketball. So you're a Hurricanes fan and football, you only care about Miami basketball. So so my first thing I kind of look at this is, dude, what were you thinking? Like, you went and called out Deion, and I get like you're concerned because he managed to get the #1 recruit in the country to come there. You're worried that this might lead to a trend of other high rated athletes going to HBCUs, and that's going to take talent out of your pool. I get your concern. So why would you actually bring it up? Why would you not just want that story to just kind of fade away? Why would you actually want to get that legs? We'll actually talk about the inaccuracy of your statement in a little bit. But for right now, let's just kind of leave it at that. Now, even dumber, you're going to call out Jimbo. The dude coached under you. Is there anybody who knows your dirt better? Why would you call out somebody who knows your dirt? So Jimbo fired back at him and basically said that. He said some people think they're God. So Jimbo over there firing shots back. Now you got players coming out talking about, hey, all I'm saying is I got offered money to come visit some schools and they were all in the Southeast. So I'm curious, like, I mean, we'll kind of dive into some of the specifics here, but I'm curious what your general thoughts are on this whole story.
Well, I'd also like to point out some of Deion Sanders' comments. So he had a warning for Nick Saban and anyone else accusing him of paying players. He said in an interview with Anscape that coaches wouldn't want him sharing what he knows about which college coaches are paying players. And a shout out to Snowman. And I quote, I don't even wear a watch and I know what time it is.
Yeah.
They forgot I know who's been bringing the bag and dropping it off. I know this stuff. I'm not the one you want to play with when it comes to all of this stuff. Then, end quote. Then Saban said he reached out to Deion Sanders on a Sirius XM interview, and Sanders didn't reach out back. Then Sanders said he hasn't talked to Coach Saban because he made accusations publicly. So let's talk publicly, not privately.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't require a conversation. Let's talk publicly and let everybody hear the conversation. You know, I'm with Deion on that one. Like, you want to call me out publicly, and then you want to, you know, slide in a phone call and try to smooth things over. Nah,
right.
You just accused me of paying to have a young man come play for me. Not because he wanted to play for me, not because he liked the school, not because he wanted to be the first major football player to go to a HBCU and try to open up that pipeline, but because we paid him $1 million. And then you want to turn around and try to call him a low? No respect. But back to Nick Saban himself. So Nicholas Saban, you ran college football for quite a long time. You've had a lot of top classes. So you expect me and the rest of the reporting universe, fan universe, sports universe to believe that Alabama hasn't been sliding some cash to players?
Right.
How hypocritical is it for you to be the guy that wants to come out and cry about NIL? Is it because other teams now have the ability to do what you've been doing for 10, 15 years? A little sore there? Feel a little bit like Carl Thomas? Right? Is that what's going on? I completely agree with BS3 Network. He's just being a hater for no reason.
I'm going to disagree with one word. No. There's a reason. There's a reason. And the reason is his dominance is being threatened.
Well, then, man, I guess you're going to have to figure out a way to pay people more money, Nick.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a good reason. I'm just saying that's his reason.
You're mad? You shouldn't be mad. Because did you think you were going to sit there for another 10, 15 years and just pay people under the table and other people wouldn't find a way to catch up?
Yeah.
The one good thing that's came out of the NIL is it has more than leveled the playing field. It's kept guys that may have tried to jump pro early, like every starter from the UNC basketball team last year that had eligibility to come back, allowed them to stay in school, make a little bit of money to be able to put aside, you know, and still maintain their eligibility to be a college athlete. So that poses a problem for a team like Alabama. But guess what, Nick? You've been doing this without it being an NIL for a long time. We all know it.
Yeah.
And people can prove it if you keep talking.
Yeah.
So what you probably want to do is put the zipper on. That's what you probably want to do.
Oh, he definitely hurt. The butt hurt is flowing hard on this one, bro.
The butt hurt is strong with him.
Well, it's like I pointed out to you earlier today, man. I mean, like, you have to actually stop and think about what the last year has looked like for Nick Saban. For the first time in your entire career, you lost to one of your assistants. That same assistant beat you out in recruiting. Then you lost to another assistant in the national championship game. So in one season's time, you went from being the top dog to losing to two of your former assistants, losing a national championship game, and getting out recruited. That's why he butthurt.
Hey, man, get used to it, Nicholas, because guess what? This is the new college football world, and you can't just pay people on the table. You can actually pay them outright. And guess what that means? Everybody's not running to Alabama to get to the NFL because they can get there from several other places because they're going to be better players to play around them.
Yeah. Now, Dion actually said, I think the best thing with this, right? Dion said, Coach Saban wasn't talking to me. He wasn't talking to Jimbo Fisher. He was talking to his boosters. He was telling his boosters, guys, we need some money.
Hey, you know,
that $40K to get somebody to just come visit ain't getting it done no more. We need some more bread.
How much you say again, sir? How much you say again?
40K, sir. 40K. That's what Antonio Cromartie said. He got
so
offered
you mean
somewhere.
to tell me that Alabama, who back when Antonio Cromartie was playing, there was no NIL, was given funds just to go visit a place?
Mm-hmm.
That may have been in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. May or may not have been.
It may. I mean, he didn't say for sure, but it's funny that now is the time he chose to make that comment, right?
And I do remember him, if I remember correctly, he did visit Alabama.
Pretty sure,
yeah. Yeah, so
I know who
connect the dots.
I know who didn't give him
$40,000. Connect the dots.
We only got $40,000.
Bobby might have gave him $100 a tank of gas.
That'd be about it, yeah.
Well,
but yeah, man. I feel like this is a known thing, and I feel like right now, especially with former players coming out and they're saying, "Hey, look, all these schools that offer me money to at least come visit were all in the Southeast." You have these other SEC coaches. Look, these other SEC coaches about to hit Saban up on the low. Like, hey, bro, shut up.
Oh, BT. By the way, the SEC has reprimanded both Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher for their comments.
Of course they have. They're like, hey, shh.
They're like, hey, we all doing it. Shut up.
Right.
Jimbo, shut up. Don't say nothing bad.
The sad thing, man, and I know you'll be able to relate to this as a Miami football fan. You know who I feel like is actually shocked by all this is the ACC. The ACC is like, what? Well, you could do that?
Maybe your team is shocked by that.
Well, your team hasn't been handing out money. Your team has been handing out bags, but it ain't been money.
Well, let's just say this. A lot of guys who were going to other teams flipped and went to Miami in the last few years. And, I'm not making any speculations as to why. I'm just going to say that, Miami does a good job of recruiting. They're a quality institution with a great recruiting department.
I'm going to say that you have speculated in private as to exactly what the incentives are. And this is a family-friendly show, so we're not going to say it here, but I'll just leave that to people's imaginations.
Miami is a reputable organization that has used their ability over time to develop their recruiting department, as well as incentives for players such as the turnover chain, the touchdown rings, and things like that to recruit players to want to come and play there. That's my story, and I'm sticking to
it. Okay. Nobody believes that, but okay.
I don't know why people don't believe my story. It is the truth. That's my story.
So speaking of people sticking to stories, I did say we were going to revisit this one. So Nick Saban's comments was that Jackson State paid a kid $1 million to come play school or come play football there.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about how it was in the paper. They bragged about it and then nobody did anything. So first of all, even from the beginning, all I heard from Dion and anyone else associated with Jackson State or Travis Hunter was denials that he was being paid $1 million. So I'm not sure how you consider that bragging about it, but maybe Nick Saban has a different definition of bragging than I do. So the real story here, though, is because I actually went to research this earlier. Let's talk about what actually he's making. So the reports are that he actually has 2 current NIL deals. Travis Hunter here has 2 current NIL deals and 2 pending NIL deals. Care to take a guess? I know you already know the answer to this, but I'm asking rhetorically for our audience here. Care to take a guess how much all of them are worth in total?
I'll refrain because I know the answer.
Yeah,
But if anyone wants to go in the comments, put it there. Partners.
Yeah. And since there's like a 20-second delay, I can go ahead and tell everybody because by the time I tell them, they'll have a chance to type it in. The rumored amount that he is making is south of $250,000.
What?
Now, for those of you who are not math majors, that's 1/4 of a million.
That can't be right.
I don't know about you, but if I have 1/4 of a million, I'm not a millionaire. So,
that can't be right because Nick Saban said it was $1 million.
Nick Saban apparently has been too busy trying to figure out how to recruit people without paying them to pay attention to the news and get accurate facts, man.
Hold on. Recruit people without paying them.
Without pay.
Of any kind.
Yeah, Nick Saban's like, I didn't pay anybody to play here. I mean, I paid people to visit, and I paid people to sign a letter of intent, but I didn't pay anybody to play.
And I paid them after wins, but I didn't pay them to play.
Right. I mean, that was a reward for playing, but you know. Oh, Nick. So yeah, I'm gonna be curious to see, man. This story might just die out, but I know you're with me in saying I really hope this triggers the NCAA to do an investigation in Alabama.
Listen, man, if they investigate Alabama, there's going to be a few of those championships that are going to be leaving. Because I guarantee there's a paper trail for somebody.
Oh, yeah.
And the best part is it's never the star. It's always some guy who didn't end up making it.
Mm-hmm.
He's bitter. And he's got all the receipts just for these kind of situations.
But see, that's what's interesting right now, man. It's like you have guys who are actually high profile coming out and even saying like, hey, I was offered money. Now, none of them at this point have named names. They haven't even named teams. But you know they're getting phone calls from the NCAA.
And it's curious.
Phone calls from ESPN.
And it's curious how it all happened once this whole thing kind of started, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very curious.
Because look, we've been talking about NIL. We've had other people come out and make comments about how NIL is bad for college football and all this other stuff and how it's bad for competition. I mean, I don't agree with that, but we've had other people come out and say that.
I vehemently disagree with that.
Only after Nick Saban came out and made these comments. And I told you earlier, I think really the statement that I think really kind of irritated people was when Nick Saban went, we've never paid anybody to play, but I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to keep that up.
Lies and untruths. Yeah. Nick Saban, what you said was hogwash, poppycock, haberdashery, and untruths.
All of it. Every last bit of it.
We reject your untruthful deposit, sir. Tell the truth. That's not what happened.
Nick Saban is Plymouth Rock, and he landed on us.
He really thinks. I'm sorry, but he really thinks that we all believe that Alabama hasn't been paying people on the table.
Right. You've been just dominating recruiting, and you've been getting and not just players. Okay. You've been getting all of these calls in all of these games. You expect me to believe that you're not greasing some refs' hands too?
All these coaches that end up being head coaches when they leave. I mean, what Nick Saban is basically saying to America is, I think you all had either idiot or fool tattooed on your forehead. That's what he's really saying to all of us. Mm-hmm. I can't speak for you, sir, but I don't have idiot or fool tattooed on my forehead.
Nope, I'm good. Sorry, Nick. It's not rolling, buddy.
Yeah, we are not allowing that, sir.
So, man, believe it or not, that is our full hour. Really flew by tonight. I want to say big props, appreciation to everybody who tuned in tonight.
Yes, sir.
Special shout out, Snowman did put in the comments earlier, man. He's mending, so definitely keep you in our prayers, bro.
Definitely.
Looking forward to getting you back out there. And go ahead and give a quick shout out to E's comment here.
Fair enough, E. Oh, and shout out to BS3 Network for showing up. Me and BS3 are going to be doing a tit for tat for Cowboys Eagles games this year. So you'll be seeing me on the show there. You'll be seeing them here. So we'll be kind of discussing Eagles Cowboys games. That'll be a good fun time with other professionals that know what they're talking about. It's all important. Shout out to Snowman in the morning, man. Monday through Friday. Nice show. I'm on it. Every once in a while. Good conversations.
Yeah. And, for those who do not know, Sideline Sports Productions is growing. Wednesday nights, Eagles Elite, 8:30 p.m.
Oh, I think you misspoke that one, sir. It's actually Play Caller Sports Productions for the Eagles Elite show. You said Sideline Sports. Yeah, you said Sideline Sports. Yeah,
because bad habit. My bad.
Yeah. So yeah, Play Caller Sports Productions. Yes. We do have the Eagles Elite show, which I am the host of, along with my man Wyatt and my boy Mo. We're on Wednesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're an Eagles fan, it's the place to be. If we play your team that week, you'll have fun tuning in. Trust me. But that's the next move. And more moves coming.
Yep. And one of those moves coming here very, very soon. I'm going to be doing a 49ers podcast as well. So more info when it drops. But y'all stay tuned, man. Appreciate all the love. If you haven't already, man, please go ahead and hit that like button. Let YouTube know that this is the place to be. And we will see y'all back next Friday night. Cool. Tell them what time.
And some of y'all we going to see on Wednesday, the Friday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Go to YouTube, type in Eagles Elite Podcast. You'll see me. Let's go.
And while you're already on the Play Callers page, you can actually scroll down and find the link directly there. So go ahead, go down, hit that subscribe button, holla at my boy.
Multiple ways. Keep y'all.